Here's the drawing that I'm going to put on the front of this box, and usually I work one of two ways. Either I project a drawing onto the surface and trace it, or I apply it as a decal and paint over it. So I really wanted to do the paint over it version on this. I thought it would be much simpler than trying to get a drawing with this much detail onto the box by tracing it. But this box is much wider than the paper that I can run through my printer. So I'm ending up with hard edges along the sides right here. And I really don't like that. It's hard to hide them within hair, which is where both of these edges are. It always ends up leaving a stripe. So what I did was I traced around the edges and then cut these pieces away. So now the edges are where the skin is, and I can live with that. And this allows me to draw in the extra hair that wasn't printed on my paper, and also run it off the edges, which I want to do. I sort of want to wrap their hair around the edges of the box. So now I can just glue this piece down using these guidelines. So I'm just going to trace for placement, just a little bit. And then apply this with some liquid matte medium, and I'll be ready to go. And then I can also draw in my extra hair. And on this girl, I need to also draw in a shoulder, which you can kind of see on this piece right here, starts right about here. And there's a shoulder over here on this girl that I can use as my guideline. So I'm sort of going to do that. And then the rest of this is going to be hair. Here's my applied decal with the sections cut away and new hairlines drawn in with pencil. And I've also taped the box back together so that I can work along the sides here, because hair is wrapping around the sides of the box on both sides. And I sort of want those lines to connect. So now all I have to do to get it ready to paint is gesso, and I'm just going to treat this, whether it's paper decal or drawing, all as one thing, and gesso it and paint it as if there's no difference between the two surfaces. The one thing that is different is this section right here. Really shouldn't be there. It should have been cut away to expose the background. But because the girls aren't connected down here at the bottom, it would have been really difficult to apply the decal nice and flat. So I went ahead and left that in, and then after I gesso, I'm going to come back in and paint the background color in that one little section. So here's the image that's been gessoed, and now I'm just filling in this little section right here. I think it's going to need 2 coats. But you can see that I've gessoed lightly over the sections that are going to be hair, and they're still a little blue, but that's okay because they're going to get a base coat color and then a highlight and a shadow over the top of them. So I feel okay about just giving them 1 coat of gesso and leaving it at that. So I'm just going to let this blue dry and maybe give it another coat before I move on to flesh tones.